Hey guys, welcome to another video. Today I'm going to go over how to do a brake fluid flush in your Toyota Tacoma. This also applies to other vehicles. It's pretty roundabout. But basically what you're going to need is the recommended brake fluid for your vehicle. Always check your owner's manual, some tubing, and a bottle with a hole in the cap. A turkey baster is optional, it's not required. This is just going to help us get some of that old fluid out before we actually start putting the new fluid in it. And the right size of wrench here that's going to open up your bleeder valve, and some gloves and safety glasses are always recommended. There are two methods on getting this done. Today I'm going to be demonstrating the one-person method, where we're going to take our bottle and our hose and place it above the bleeder valve behind your tires and jump in the truck, start pumping the brakes. I'll kind of demonstrate that for you guys. There's also the two-person method where you have somebody in the truck pumping the brakes for you, and while you're down by the bleeder valve, cracking it open while they push the brakes down. So let's go ahead, let's get some of this old fluid out of here, place it in our bottle, and go from there. And I didn't explain it in the intro, but for the Toyota Tacoma, bleeder valve needs a 10mm wrench. Let's go ahead and jump into it. It's always a good idea to just get a cloth and just kind of wipe the cap off, kind of just clean this up. That way no dirt gets in there when you're messing around with this. In here there's this little filter that we're going to take out with our screwdriver here. You kind of have to twist it and pull out. There we go. Awesome. So once we got this little filter out, we can go ahead and grab our turkey baster. So grab your bottle and turkey baster. There's some other things that you can grab at a hardware store to pull the old fluid out. Again, this is optional, but it just kind of helps us in the process of taking this out. And as you can see, I mean, mine's not horrible. It is a little dark, but I have noticed my brakes getting a little squishy, and this is just one of those things that's going to help maintain my brake system. We don't want to suction all of it out of there. We don't want to leave air in the brake lines. So we're just going to go down, get as much as we can out of there, but leave just a little bit still at the bottom. That way we're not left with air. And if you spill any brake fluid, you want to immediately wipe it up. This stuff can ruin paint, clothes, metal. So if you spill any, immediately you want to wipe that stuff up. All right, so check that out. We got some of that old fluid out of there. This is also going to help us in our next step. So let's go ahead. We're going to put the cap on this guy and locate our bleeder valves and go from there. So when doing your brake flush, a lot of people recommend starting with the furthest away from the master cylinder, bleeding this one first. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to start with this guy back here, then go to the driver's side, then passenger side, and then driver's side again. Let's go ahead, jump underneath here. I'll kind of show you what that looks like, how to locate your bleeder valves. Let's get started. So we're going to crawl under here. So this is right behind our passenger rear tire, and right here you can see that little nipple, that connector. That is our bleeder valve that we're going to crack open with our wrench. Attach the hose right there, jump into the truck, pump the brakes, and that's where our fluid is going to come out. I'm going to show you a couple more locations, that way you can just kind of check it out. This is behind the passenger side tire. You can actually see the caliper and the brakes right there. And right up here, oh sorry, right there is our bleeder valve. That's where we're going to attach the hose, get our bottle connected, pump the brakes, jump in the truck, pump the brakes, and the fluid's going to come out of there. So if you guys can find your brake line, kind of looks like these brake calipers. Usually the bleeder valve is just right above either the brake drum or your caliper, just like that. All right, so we are back behind the passenger side rear tire. We're going to take this boot off that I accidentally ripped. So we're going to go ahead and attach our hose to our bottle, and I'll kind of show you how that looks, especially when you're doing this alone. You want the bottle raised up above the bleeder valve. I'll show you. So we got our hose attached. I will leave some hose linked in the description below. You can pick it up at Home Depot, any kind of hardware store. and what kind of dimensions you need. Perfect. So when you are doing this on your own, you want to be able to set your bottle down onto something, as well as get your hose going, so all the way down to the bottom into the old fluid, so it has a way to not suck air back up into the tube and into your system. You also want the tube going up. See how mine's just kind of going straight out of the bleeder valve here? There we go. So I'm going to finagle this to where it's going up and then down into my bottle. That way, when I let go of the brakes, there's no air coming back into the system. So let me get this going. I'll jump into the truck. We'll show you how that kind of works and go from there. So once you got your bottle system rigged up, we're going to jump over into the front of the truck. You're going to take your new brake fluid here. So we're going to put our new fluid in here. And we're going to fill it up pretty much all the way full, because when we get pumping the brakes and pumping the new fluid through it, we don't want this to run empty. So you can take your new fluid, fill it up. We're going to jump in the truck, start pumping the brakes and getting that old fluid pumped through into the bottle system that we hooked up. Also, to keep in mind, never buy this stuff in bulk. It doesn't have a very long shelf life. So I bought a quart of this stuff, which is usually how much it takes when doing a flush like this. But once you crack the seal, like I said, it doesn't have a shelf life for very long. So never buy this stuff in bulk and keep it around. Just whenever you're doing a change like this is when you buy enough. But with our bottle system hooked up in the back, we're going to jump in the truck and press on the brakes. You don't have to apply a ton of pressure. You just push the brakes in, kind of let it filter through, and then let go. And you're going to do that 10 to 15 times depending on how much fluid's coming out, and get that old fluid into your old bottle. I'll kind of show you. So as you can see in that video, once you pump the brakes just like that, it pumps the fluid through and into your bottle back there, getting the old fluid out and the new fluid through. So yeah, we're gonna jump back into the compartment up here. You can already see that it took it from up here all the way down. We're gonna fill it up with some more new fluid, jump through each of our brake lines and go from there, making sure the system has all new brake fluid. You could tell that my brake fluid honestly wasn't even that bad, but like I said, I was noticing a little squishy brakes. We're gonna check our brakes later in another video, and our rotors in another video, and go from there. But this is always just a good idea to get done every 2 to 3 years. My truck is 10 years old, so every 2 to 3 years, check your owner's manual, see when to get this done in your truck or vehicle. But with the 2-person method, honestly guys, you just have somebody up here in the cab pushing on the brakes when you tell them to. So in this instance, I would be back there with my wrench and I would crack it open, say push the brakes. They would push on the brakes once I popped it open, crack that bleeder valve open, and then I would say okay or let go, and they would let go of the brakes as I shut the bleeder valve with the wrench. Honestly, all there is to it, guys, you make sure that you have the right fluid, check your owner's manual again, you have the right wrench that fits, make sure you have the right tubing. Again, I'll leave the tubing that I use linked in the description below so that you can get the right one. It has different dimensions. You grab your bottle with a hole and hook it up just like so, with the tube going into the old fluid. If you don't have old fluid to get out of there with your turkey baster, you can just put new fluid in the bottom of that and make sure that it has a way to not suck air back up into there. Leave a comment down below if this video was helpful. Please like and subscribe, and we'll see you guys in the next one.